I'm going to write the game craps that we did in the lesson so that you have a tutorial to go over what we did if you didn't quite understand. So the first thing we did was we imported the random library, because the game of craps worked that you rolled 2 dice, you added the values together. If you got a double 1, that was called snake eyes. If you got 7 on the 2 dice, that's a 2 and a 5, a 1 and a 6, a 3 and a 4. Then you get or you win, and if you didn't have any of those, you lose. And in fact, we extended the game just to what you did when you threw a double. So I'm going to go through it as we did in the lesson, sort of building up. So the first thing we did was that we had 2 dice. So dice 1 is the variable name, and what I did was I called the library random. If you notice, it has to be the same name as this, random, and inside that random library we had something called randint. And here we go. If we find some help online, this is the function we need, print random.randint, and that generates a number between 0 and 5. So random.randint, or we don't need a number between 0 and 5, we need the values that appear on the dice. So I'm going to start off with a 1 and a 6, so generate a random number between 1 and 6. I'm going to do the same with the second dice. I'm going to have a random number generated. Now random numbers will be tested quite a lot in your exam. It's the mainstay of computer programming, so if things are random, we don't know what's going to happen, forms the basis of games, and you will need to learn it quite a lot, and we'll see quite a few different ways of using random throughout. So there's my 2 dice. What I need to do is add those 2 together, so I need a new variable to hold the result. So I'm going to call that total, and the total equals whatever the value was on dice 1, and I'm going to add that to the value that was in dice 2. So there we go. Now all I need to do is check what the values were, and my major piece of teaching for this lesson was the if, elif and else statement. So I'm going to go through them to begin with. So we start off with an if, and they have to be in this order: if, then an elif, and then an else. And we can have as many elifs between the if and the else as we like, but the else must come last. I cannot place that before the elifs, so this would cause an error. So let me go through the ifs and the elifs for you. So if, what I'm testing is this value here, so I've just added it up, and I'm going to say if the total is equal to, well, the first one I want to look at is rolling a double 1, snake eyes, so that would be a value 2. What I'm going to do is just print out the word snake eyes. So that's what happens if I roll 2 ones. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to have a statement, print game over, after my if statements, to show you how these are used in the program. So the next one was if I got a total of 7. Now I could write an if statement here and say if total is equal to 7, but that would make my else statement quite difficult. I'm not going to go into that now, but at some point we will discover why we need to do elifs rather than just an if statement. So elif, and the thing is with elifs, just like the if statement, it has to have a condition, and that condition must be either true or false. So here total is equal to 2. If that's true, it's going to do snake eyes. If it's false, it's going to drop down to the next statement, which is the elif, and total is equal to 7. I'm going to just do a simple print you win statement, and then else, and I like to call this the default statement, and it does not have a condition. So total equals 2 and total equals 7 are conditions. They're booleans and they evaluate to true or false. The else statement does not have ever a condition. It just manages everything else. So if the total was 1 or if the total was 10, it would always fall into the else statement. And don't forget, at the end of if, end of elif and end of else, you need a colon. So the else part is print you lose. So that's how we started the game, with just a simple if statement. So it's going to check, we're going to roll the dice. If it's 2, it's going to print snake eyes and then jump to this statement down here, game over. If we rolled a 7 with a 3 and a 4, for example, it would look at this. This would fail, so it would jump onto the next line, check is the total 7. It would find that it was. It would print you win, then it would jump down to this line. If I'd rolled a 6 and a 2 and got 8, it would check it here. If the total is equal to 2, it isn't, so it would jump down to the next test. Is the total equal to 7? No, it isn't, it's 8, and so it would come down to this line, print you lose, and then game over. So if I save that file, we call this one craps.py, that's the name of the American game, and if I run this, you will see that it will print, oh, you win, and game over. So as I won, I must have thrown a 7. I don't know what the dice are at the moment. We'll get into that shortly. The problem I've got now is if I want to run the game again, I need to keep going back to the main program and choose run module to keep running the game to see how it works. And we discovered in the lesson that we could actually have a loop. And this was our first introduction to a loop, and there are a couple of loops that you need to be aware of. This one is called a while loop. And just like an if statement, it needs a condition. And I'm just going to set the condition to be true at the moment and a colon at the end. The rest of the lines, and only those that I want to be in the loop, keep playing over and over again, I've highlighted. This print game over happens at the end when I'm finished. It doesn't run the loop again, it comes down to this line. So I'm going to indent these. And now I've got a game which runs over and over again. So if I run the game, there we go, snake eyes, snake eyes, snake eyes. The only problem I've got at the moment is I put the number 1, the while, in the wrong place because it's just doing the if statement. It's not re-rolling the dice, so I need to take my while up to this point. And secondly, I need to be able to stop the game because it's just running off the screen and I can't see it. So I'm going to make those 2 changes. So I'm going to cut that and I'm going to paste it right at the top of my program while true, and these lines also need to be indented. Now it's going to do what I want it to do, but one more thing, I just need to stop the program running so that I can examine the results and press enter to continue the game. And I'm going to use a raw underscore input without saving the variable. I'm going to give it a message, please press enter to continue. There we go, and that's my job. Now what I meant by not saving it to a variable, normally I would have name equals raw underscore input, but as I'm not going to be doing anything with name, I just want to stop the program and have a key press. I'm forgetting all about the variable altogether and just doing raw underscore input. So now if I run my game, it should do as I want. So this time I lost and it's waiting for me to press enter. This time I lost, waiting, lost, 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 lost. Now it might appear that I've got my while in the wrong place again. I don't think I have. I think it's just the way the game's working that I continually lose. Up, there we go, and we've proved it. This time I've won. So to actually get snake eyes, I might have to play the game quite a few times. Anyway, that's not important for now. In the next video, I'm going to enhance this program. The program works, but really I want to start making it more like a game, allowing a person to bet some money and play for a certain amount of times.